5 minutes till the top of the hour. A reminder, the news does not end here, folks. Here's a look at what's streaming coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
Ahead of that deadline by the FTA, Charlotte leaders are discussing areas that they've made improvements so they can report back to those leaders about overall safety here on the CATS lines. Details coming up.
A North Carolina man is dead after authorities say he breached security at Mar-a-Lago overnight. Coming up, what investigators are learning about the 21-year-old from Moore County.
And a Rock Hill community on edge after a robbery involving a 15-year-old turned deadly.
It's really hard right now to make ends meet, and it's really scary that the kids are even feeling that.
What happened and how this latest shooting is reigniting the push for change. And the 2026 Winter Olympics wrapping up with a golden finish for Team USA.
We will have a look at the final moments, and we'll look ahead to what's next for the Olympics. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
And it's cold out there this morning. Look at those roads. It's hard to even see where the line is right there in Boone as snowplows are going through trying to clear that. Whole different story a little closer to Charlotte. Nice and dry, but still chilly. That's out near Clanton. South Carolina not seeing any issues other than our typical slow-moving traffic, especially I-77 inbound. One thing you need to know is we are following a crash right there. I-85 southbound exit 26. I'll be following everything on WCNC Plus.
And today is the coldest day, only a high of 42, but it feels like it's freezing most of the time. Back to the 60s, and look at that. Something to look forward to, 71 degrees. And guess what? That's March 1st, so warming up just in time.
Okay, we'll get there. Make sure you join us on WCNC Plus. Make it a great Monday.
Happy Monday, everybody. We are streaming live right now at 7 a.m. here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start things off this hour with a check of your forecast. If you haven't noticed, it's quite chilly out there this morning.
I'm mainly focusing in on the wind chills because that's how cold you're actually going to be feeling throughout today. We are 17 degrees right now, but temperatures in the mid to the upper 20s, -5 in Jefferson. Boone was so cold it just gave up. It was reporting temperatures up to the 5 o'clock hour, and once you hit 6 o'clock, it's like, nah, I'm fine. There's going to be a lot of blowing snow up there, and then meanwhile, we have some sunshine close to home. So here's the difference. This is blowing rough that you're seeing here in the background, feeling like the negative values for the morning, and then we get up to a balmy 4 degrees, and then I think the max is going to be about 32, 33 during the middle of the afternoon around the Queen City. So here's on top of Beach Mountain. Don't think there's going to be a lot of snowboarding or skiing going on because they're going to be closing those lifts with gusts up to 50 to 55 miles per hour. But look at all that sunshine over here in Louisville. Most of the area is going to look like this for the morning, and then we pick up a few clouds for the afternoon. Only exception, of course, is the higher you go up. So as I mentioned, those wind chills in the teens eventually going to be warming up to barely the freezing point, and then it does get better after tomorrow morning. Here's a look at our future cast. This is the snow, and it's mainly going to be along the Tennessee border, so there will be some breaks, especially the lower you go in elevation. So for instance, Jefferson, you are way below the elevation that Boone and Blowing Rock has, so that's why you're likely only going to have like up to around an inch compared to maybe 2 to 3 plus for some areas in Watauga County. And that snow is going to be pretty persistent. I think the heaviest snow lasts up until about 6, 7, and then from about 7 to about 1 o'clock, that's where you're anticipating a little bit of a wind down, lingering flurries heading into your Tuesday morning, and then Tuesday gets a little bit better before clouds start to roll back in. Here we got it. We have a winter storm warning up here in the mountains. Yikes. It's a lot of blowing snow associated with this, so that's going to be one of the biggest caveats. So say if there was skiing going on, or you can do it down your own large hill, the temperature is going to be in the single digits throughout. Our snowfall forecast, as I mentioned, I'm really about that 1 to 3 inch range the higher you go up, and a whole lot of nothing closer to the Charlotte area. So some good news. I just want to show you the sunrise again. That's gorgeous, right? So the sun officially up. New sunrise time for today, 7:01. So that means it's about to get below 7 o'clock this week. Just as a quick recap, not to make things more miserable, this is so cold compared to where we were just a few days ago. Because on Friday, it wasn't just a wonderful day in the 80s. It was the warmest temperature that we've ever recorded during the month of February in Charlotte history. So huzzah! Hopefully you were able to get out and enjoy it. Now we have about half of that. So half off sale for our high temperatures today. 42, 48, back to the lower 60s with our next chance for rain on Thursday. Here's the treat. Back to around 70 degrees on Sunday. All right. All right, let's get our first look here on WCNC Plus at our morning commute. It's been active for you.
Good morning, everyone. It has. We have multiple car accidents, but truthfully, this is going to be the big story as we're looking at roads because it's quiet weather-wise here in Charlotte, but you can't even see the roads if you're going to be traveling up in the mountains today. We're not only talking about snow, we're talking about ice, wind, drifting, and blowing snow, even fog on top of that. So if you are traveling today up in the high country, I mean, really make sure you're driving with caution because this is what it looks like this morning. Again, this is our biggest concern. We have seen some snow plows go through the area, but you know how it goes. It's going to take a little while for those roads to actually look nice and clear. I-77, that's out near Clanton, a whole different story there. Not seeing any big issues in South Carolina. One thing to know, this is something new as we're heading south of Uptown. It's on Sharon View Road at Old Providence Road. New accident just popping up right at the intersection there. Not seeing significant delays. But then as we hop up to the north, this here at Moorhead Street at Kenilworth Ave, we do have some delays coming in. The crash just happened right there in between those two roads. I'll look to see if we have a picture of that when I see it back here in just a couple minutes.
7:04 right now. It has been 6 months since 23-year-old Irina Zarutsa was stabbed to death on the Charlotte's light rail.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning along the light rail in South End, looking at the changes that county and city leaders have made to public safety since that deadly stabbing. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ben. Good morning, Lisa. Good Monday morning, everyone. What we're talking about is the 6 months since that tragic incident happened, And to this day, still the most important thing for a lot of folks is safety on our light rails, especially for daily riders. City leaders have rolled out several new safety measures since Irina Zaruska's death, including a larger security presence on trains and platforms with more off-duty Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officers, private security guards, bicycle patrols, and utility terrain vehicles. The city has also changed how fares are enforced, creating dedicated teams to handle inspections. And they say they've expanded overall security staffing, adding more than 200 authorized security positions across the system. Despite these changes, the Federal Transit Administration says more must be done. The agency is now requiring CATS to submit a corrective action plan, calling for a clearer and more transparent security strategy. That plan must address staffing levels, surveillance upgrades, and coordination with police. Earlier this month, state lawmakers and Charlotte leaders held a heated hearing on transit safety, pressing city officials on what went wrong, and lawmakers say they want to know how the system will be made safer going forward. Charlotte City Council member Malcolm Graham has called for additional state support, including more funding for mental health services, police recruitment, and resources for the district attorney's office.
Making sure that it's safe for those who use the system, those who are employed by CATS, those who ride the buses and the streetcar and the light rail, making sure they have a system that is safe not only on the cars and the buses, but also the community itself has to be safe. And so the recent crime report demonstrates that we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, the City Council will talk about those issues today and, if possible, enact them and pass those as budget items. Of course, we'll have complete details of that a little bit later on, both here and in all of our platforms. We're in the South End. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks. Right now, police say 2 juveniles are facing several charges, including murder in connection to the deadly shooting of an 18-year-old in Rock Hill. That shooting happened early Friday morning on Elizabeth Lane, just off Main Street. Officials say it stemmed from a planned robbery. They say the 18-year-old and a 16-year-old allegedly conspired to rob a 15-year-old at gunpoint. Investigators say during that robbery attempt, the 15-year-old pulled out a gun and shot the 18-year-old, killing him. Many who live near downtown Rock Hill say the shooting is difficult to process.
Could drive them to want to rob someone. It's really hard right now to make ends meet, and it's really scary that the kids are even feeling that.
Both of those teens are in the custody of the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice. Officials say the investigation is ongoing. Now, this deadly shooting comes just days after a 4-year-old and a 19-year-old were killed in Rock Hill.
We spoke with a relative of one of those victims. She now runs the historic Paradise Foundation after-school program, teaching kids how to resolve conflict without violence.
Be able to have a conversation or write it down. These are the things I want to say, and plan it out so that if you've been wronged by someone or if someone has wronged you, you get an opportunity to think before you react.
She says her program works with licensed counselors to give kids healthy ways to cope, tools she believes could prevent another family from losing a child. We now know that a smoky scene in South End over the weekend was caused by a literal dumpster fire. Charlotte Fire confirming the fire on South Tryon Street at Rampart contained to the dumpster on the side of Monday Night Brewing. The department said the fire was quickly put out with no damage to the building. The brewery says they don't believe this was an intentional act. A South Carolina man who spent more than a decade behind bars for a crime he says he did not commit is now suing multiple law enforcement agencies. Michael Pearson, arrested in 2010 in connection with a violent home invasion and robbery in Clarendon County. But following new evidence and statements, a judge vacated his convictions last August. The lawsuit alleges that investigators and prosecutors ignored evidence of Pearson's innocence both before and after his conviction. The lawsuit did not specify how much in damages Pearson is seeking.
New responses are coming in following a ruling that blocks Duke Energy customers from getting some refunds from the company's improperly collected fuel charges. North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein shared this statement. It reads in part, "We cannot allow utilities to overbuild paid for by a blank check at the expense of ratepayers." Duke Energy shared a statement that reads, by law, customers pay what we pay for the cost of fuel to generate power. No more, no less. In the recent ruling, the North Carolina Court of Appeals says the refunds wouldn't offer meaningful relief because Duke Energy could charge customers again under another state law.
Speaking of the governor, he and the First Lady will cast their ballots in the 2026 primary election. They'll vote this afternoon in Raleigh. Early voting wraps up this Saturday, February 28th, with polls closing at 3 p.m. on that last day. Also happening today, California Governor Gavin Newsom will make a stop in Rock Hill, part of his book tour for his memoir, Young Man in a Hurry. The event starts at 6:30 tonight at McGirt Auditorium on Crawford Road. Worth mentioning that Governor Newsom is frequently mentioned as a possible contender to run for president in a few years. 7:10 right now. The TSA now says TSA PreCheck will stay open despite earlier warnings that it could be suspended. But questions grow about what this means for those who have another kind of entry that's called global entry.
Also, the Hyundai Hometown Hero program returns for its 8th year. WCNC Charlotte has partnered with the Charlotte area Hyundai dealers to honor one outstanding teacher with a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe. If you know a teacher who goes above and beyond, you should nominate them. It's very easy to do. Just head to WCNC.com/Hometown Hero. Those nominations are due March 8th.
President Trump doubling down on his tariffs after being handed a rare defeat by the U.S. Supreme Court. Reed Binion has the latest.
The whole thing is a farce.
Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom reacting to President Donald Trump's Saturday announcement that he's raising global tariffs to 15% from the 10% he imposed a day earlier.
It was 10% 2 days ago, maybe 20% tomorrow. I mean, this is madness.
The back-to-back tariff announcements came after the Supreme Court handed down a decision Friday, ruling the sweeping emergency tariffs Trump imposed last year are illegal. But the High Court's ruling only applies to the duties Trump imposed using one specific law. And the president immediately responded by saying he will now rely on other legal authorities to keep tariffs in place.
Other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected.
The law Trump is relying on for his new 15% global tariffs requires that Congress approve the duties within 150 days for them to remain in effect. As for the tens of billions of dollars U.S. companies paid after Trump raised tariffs last year, Democrats are demanding the money be refunded.
needs to return that money, needs to refund that money with interest. He can do that in a nanosecond. They can do that electronically. They can do electronically. They have the tariff codes. They have the ability.
But Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says it's not that simple.
The Supreme Court did not address refunds. The Supreme Court remanded it down to a lower court. That could be weeks or months when we hear them.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Gas prices rose by 6 cents over the past 2 weeks. The national average price for regular gas now sits at $3.02 per gallon. That is still 16 cents less than the price 1 year ago. According to the Lundberg survey, which tracks the prices of gas, larger price hikes are in store. The average gas price here in North Carolina, $2.70 per gallon, and South Carolina, $2.61 per gallon.
The TSA says its pre-check program will remain operational for now. It comes after early indications that the Department of Homeland Security planned to suspend both pre-check and global entry during its funding lapse. For a fee, the two programs allow frequent flyers to pass through security and customs quickly. A TSA spokesperson said the agency will adjust operations on a case-by-case basis if staffing issues arise. The TSA did not address the status of global entry, even though the reported suspension was expected to begin at 6 this morning. All right, check this out. The grandson of the inventor of the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup says he was stunned after tasting a Valentine's Day Reese's Mini Heart and realizing it wasn't made with real milk chocolate.
Listen to this. Brad Reese checked the label and discovered the candy used a chocolate-flavored coating instead, prompting him to write a public letter criticizing Hershey's. In that letter, he said, quote, "My grandfather built Reese's on a simple, enduring architecture, milk chocolate plus peanut butter." Hershey says the original cups are still made the same way, though some seasonal items use different coatings. Now, Reese argues the changes undermine his grandfather's legacy and says he is taking a break from eating the candy.
Wow. If you lose a family member with the last name Reese, then...
I'm saying, and did you know that Mr. Reese was going to have his own company, but he actually worked for Mr. Hershey. And so that's how they brokered a deal for him to sell the peanut butter and that recipe to him.
Wow, now we know.
Now we know.
I will say that I think sometimes you notice the difference in some of those specialty ones because the chocolate to peanut butter ratio is different.
It's a little different. This is true.
But otherwise, I wouldn't have noticed a difference.
Yeah, but that Reese's peanut butter cups.
Hard to beat.
Man, oh man.
Classic.
All right, let's talk about today in history. A record-setting win put the Tar Heels in the books. We're going to talk about that next.
It's all about perspective, y'all. Check this out. See that area of blue? It's this banding right in here that can have anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow per hour. That's how heavy this snow is, and it is substantial. Where you're looking right now, we are up here in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Cape and the Islands. So my friend Luke Dignan lives right about here, and he just reported that pretty much the entirety of Dennis, Massachusetts is out of power. Also, they're dealing with wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour. That's what most recently was clocked over here in Chatham, Massachusetts. So how major of a storm system this is. So yeah, 42 degrees with sunshine. I guess that's not really too bad for us. Now in the mountains, of course, you're dealing with 1 to 3 inches of blowing snow. So you have a little taste of what New England and the Northeast is dealing with. It's over the next couple of days. They're going to separate themselves from all the rest in the colder fashion. And then we're back into the lower 60s, even the mid 60s by Saturday. Right now, it's a tough decision between Saturday and Sunday as my pick of the week because Sunday does have signs of more clouds. So we'll see. But Saturday is looking to be the sunnier of the two. And then eventually a cold front will pass and that'll bring temperatures back to the 50s. As far as the freezing temperatures this morning, of course, we're doing it right now. We're in the mid to the upper 20s, 24 by tomorrow. And that's going to be the coldest morning that we have over the next 10. Then we have a lot more of the 40s for us to enjoy. By the way, our new averages are really around the mid 30s still for our lows, and our highs are close to 60 degrees, 59 to be precise. As far as our next chance for rain, it really looks to be Thursday into Friday. This is a tough timing because I'm seeing a lot of different variations here. This is the big nor'easter, the bomb cyclone, whatever you're going to call it, so both are correct. But that's going to clear off towards the north and east. We'll have clouds that start to move in for your Wednesday, but then here comes our next chance for rain. The two major models that are more long range are either showing more so Thursday night heading into Friday or more of a Thursday into Thursday night. So it just really depends. So that's why we're calling Thursday and Friday really the sweet spot for that rain. I think we have a sign of rain earlier on. This is the one that's showing more of an overnight event, seeing widespread rain by your Thursday late afternoon through the evening, and then eventually it's starting to taper off for your Friday morning, and then other ones again a little bit earlier in the day. So it just really just depends. So kind of keep in mind that's the time that you're going to want to have the umbrella, and then we should clear out heading in the weekend. Luckily not really cooling us down. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast showing it to you one more time. The lower 60s, actually I'm going to show it to you multiple times. We're streaming for a while. We're back to 71 degrees before we see that eventual cool down. All right, Majestic. Well, what do people need to know this morning?
Snowy out there up in the mountains. I've seen a number of different plows going through trying to clear some of those roads. We have snow, we have ice, bitter cold temperatures, and by the way, visibility is significantly reduced. Live camera look coming in from Beach Mountain. That's what the mountains look like. Meanwhile, closer to Charlotte, it is gorgeous out there. Clear sunny skies on I-77 near Westinghouse. Cold though, that's what we're all sharing this morning. If you're coming in from South Carolina, haven't seen any big issues. In York County, heading up towards Mecklenburg County, just going to be a little slow going as more people are waking up, starting their day, heading off to work. A crash to know about is right here. We're starting to see some yellow, meaning that we do have slow moving conditions. Wilkinson Boulevard inbound. This is approaching the Boyer Street and it's backed up to Josh Birmingham Parkway. So right by the airport there. And the second one, this is on Sharon View Drive at Old Providence Road. Not seeing big delays with that. We'll have another check of those roads coming up for you here soon.
7:23 right now. Today in history, the UNC Tar Heels became the first NCAA basketball team to reach 1,500 wins in 1991. North Carolina hit the milestone with a victory over Clemson. The team led, of course, by legendary head coach Dean Smith, whose leadership helped shape the UNC into one of college basketball's premier programs. The achievement cemented the Tar Heels' place in NCAA history and set a new benchmark for success. It remains one of the defining moments in UNC's long legacy of excellence on the court. Now up to more than 2,400 wins at this point.
My goodness.
There you go.
All right, 7:24 now. Time for us to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep streaming right here on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back.
Sliver of the area looking like this. Snow up in the high country, but most of us are looking like this across the greater Charlotte area. Lots of sunshine to go around, but all of us can be considered cold. Current temperatures right now, 14 degrees in Jefferson, 27 right around Charlotte, 24 was your low around Hickory, and that's where you're actively living. But it's the wind chills. That's what really matters today. Feeling like 14 to 18 degrees across the region. Negative values, the higher you go up. It's a very cold start to the day, and it doesn't get much better. Charlotte, the entirety of today, with on and off gusts up to 30 miles per hour, you're going to be feeling like it's freezing or below. And then also, we are dealing with the single digits for the best case scenario, the higher you go up. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast keeps it cold tomorrow, still starting off in the 20s and the 60s take over, even 71 on Sunday. All right, Majestic, what's going on this morning?
We're following an overturned vehicle. Let's get straight to it. Here's my map right here. It's going to be right to the west of Uptown near the airport here on Wilkinson Boulevard. We're seeing slow moving traffic because of this. The right lane is going to be blocked. Again, Wilkinson Boulevard east at Boyer Street. It is backed up to Josh Birmingham Parkway. We're following this and a handful of other ongoing wrecks on WCNC Plus. Hope to see you over there soon.
We hope your Monday is off to a good start. You're streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We're following a developing story this morning out of Florida, where Secret Service agents shot and killed a North Carolina man at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning in West Charlotte with what we know at this hour. Destiny.
That's right. Investigators have identified the man who's involved in this security breach as 21-year-old Austin Martin. He's from the town of Cameron, which is about 100 miles from the Charlotte area. Now, here's what we know so far. The Secret Service says Martin drove through the north gate of Mar-a-Lago around 1:30 Sunday morning as another vehicle was exiting. He was carrying a shotgun and a gas can, according to authorities. Two Secret Service agents and a Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy confronted him, ordering him to drop the items. Officials say he put down the gas can but raised the shotgun into a shooting position. That's when agents and the deputy opened fire, killing him at the scene. Back in Moore County, neighbors say a relative had reported Martin missing earlier that same morning.
The only thing I know was that she saw someone at the Kangaroo last night and had said she needed to report him missing, that he had been gone since 1 o'clock. She had no idea where he was.
I just hate it for the family. It's just tragic. It's just a tragic situation. Young man, lose his life over something that could have definitely been avoided.
President Trump was at the White House and not at Mar-a-Lago at the time of the incident, and the FBI is investigating a possible motive. We know this morning that Martin's cousin actually says that he was quiet. He said that he was shocked that this happened, that he comes from a family of avid Trump supporters, and that he did not discuss politics. I'll send it back to you guys live here from West Charlotte.
Destiny, thank you. Right now, a person is recovering after being hit by a car in Uptown. It happened Sunday afternoon on South Church Street. Medic tells us that person is expected to be okay.
The city of Statesville responding to a federal lawsuit that says the city workers had a whites-only bathroom at a facility. The city shared a statement saying in part the city is aware of the lawsuit and takes all allegations like this very seriously. This past week, we told you about the lawsuit from 3 former wastewater plant employees, saying a supervisor allowed only white employees to use a nicer bathroom. The employees say they reported the issue, but say no investigation happened. All 3 later fired, and they say the records used against them were falsified. The workers are seeking back pay, damages, and a jury trial. Tomorrow, you'll have the chance to speak with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police's new police chief, Estella Patterson, and leaders from the Northwest Patrol Division. The meeting runs from 6 to 7:30 at the Park Church. That's over on Beatty's-Ford Road. Organizers say it's an opportunity for neighbors to voice their concerns, learn about resources out there, and hear directly from the team protecting their community.
7:33 now, and a live look at the U.S. Capitol this morning. That's where lawmakers will return today to try to end that partial government shutdown. It's now heading into its 11th day. Leaders remain at odds over funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats are pushing for more restrictions on ICE agents.
Right now, local postal workers are pushing for better pay. Sunday, the local National Association of Letter Carriers branch held a rally at the Park Road Shopping Center. Organizers tell us they're up for a new contract and want a paycheck that reflects the hard work they put in every single day.
All we're doing is making awareness that we deserve first-class pay for the first-class service we provide to the American public. All right, as you know, the changes with the Postal Service is fast coming with the decrease of first-class letter mail. Packages are on the increase, and with that comes more workload.
Union leaders are also calling for better protection on their routes. This after a postal worker was killed in Georgia early this month while on the job. A new plan could bring big changes to Ballantyne, turning an office space into housing. Developers have submitted plans to the city that would convert this site into more than 400 multifamily units spread across 5 apartment buildings and 7 townhome buildings. The project, part of a growing trend to repurpose office buildings that have sat underused since the pandemic.
Demands for office changed dramatically due to the pandemic, and that caused some office products not to be competitive anymore. Downtowns and cities have a decision to make. What do they do with that vintage office? And to us, there's 3 things you can do to it. 1, you can demo it. 2nd, you can convert it into anything else, any other kind of use, or you can try to upfit it for modern office.
A City of Charlotte spokesperson says the project won't require a public hearing or city council vote as it moves through the land development construction plan process. A bill aimed at putting new guardrails on data center growth in South Carolina is drawing some strong reaction at the State House. That proposal would create a new state office to regulate data centers, require state permits, and make companies cover the cost of added infrastructure. It would also set water efficiency standards. Supporters of the bill say without new rules, everyday customers could end up paying the price.
We want to make sure that everyday customers, hardworking families, and businesses are not paying power costs for large new data centers.
Industry leaders warn added permits could delay projects and push investment to other states. All right, 7:36. Let's check back in with Chris now. I see the winds are blowing and blowing, Rock.
I don't love when that happens for them. It's much better when it's like a southwest wind and they're warming up. But yeah, this is what it looks like. And then meanwhile, it's much better down to the southeast. But honestly, that is tame where we were just looking compared to what some of our friends up in New England are dealing with. My friend Luke Dignan, who's kind of my weather correspondent out there, just said that he's seen over the last hour 4 lightning flashes. So they got some thunder snow. That shows how intense it is. Meanwhile, it's still going to be intense at times. Wind gusts anywhere from 30 to 50 miles per hour on and off. Power outage is going to be an issue as well. It's a lot of blowing snow. We'll spend more time on this a little bit later on, but plain and simple, Boone was so cold it just gave up. I don't know if the sensor went out during the 6 o'clock hour, but it's 14 degrees in Jefferson. Feeling like the negative values this morning. And then, hey, look at that Blowing Rock here, up to a nice 4 to 5 between 3 and 6 o'clock. Charlotte, meanwhile, we're going to see more sunshine. That's definitely going to help out. The winds are actively going to keep it feeling like it's freezing or colder most of the day. I think the best case wind chill that you're going to have in the afternoon is about the lower to the mid 30s. So that really puts a testament to it. Now, the winds aren't always going to be blowing, so at times it will feel like the actual air temperature only into the lower 40s. But check it out. The winds are really blowing this camera around, which, by the way, 42 degrees for a high today is almost half of what we had on Friday. That was a high of 83, the warmest February high of all time in Charlotte history. A few more clouds to end the day, but winds are going to be rocking up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour on and off throughout today. So this is the coldest day. Tomorrow morning is the coldest morning, and then after that, temperatures are on the rise. Back into the lower 60s on Wednesday. It does look like it's going to be on the cloudier side of things. And then Thursday, chance for widespread rain, but the big question mark in the forecast, is this going to be widespread more Thursday and Thursday night, or is it more Thursday night heading into Friday? So there's a lot of question marks there, and regardless, it's going to be a wet road for your Friday morning commute. Here's the first peek of what's going on. Slight chance for a second round of snow up for you in the mountains, I would say really Wednesday morning, but then here comes the widespread rain. This model scenario shows more of an arrival during your Thursday afternoon, continues through the overnight and eventually disappears, turns into a low off the coast, and then it just narrowly misses New England. But not a lot of rain forecasted to come along with this. Now, this could certainly change, but it's only showing values up to about a ½ inch. Some areas about 1 to 2 inches the higher you go up. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. We have the lower 60s for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Here's the top, though. 71 degrees on Sunday, but that is eventually going to topple down. We're back to the 50s with lows starting to slip back in the 30s. Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday of next week, where we have yet again another rain chance. One more thing to mention. Sunday, 71. That officially is the first day of March. Time's just flying by. Let's see how our morning commute is flying with Majestic.
All right, let's do it. Good morning, everyone. This is I-77 here near Tyvol. As you probably expected, it is moving quite slowly as people are all heading towards uptown. No accidents here, just a live look of what you're getting yourself into if that's the drive that you typically take for your Monday morning commute. At least we don't have any accidents there. One thing to mention, though, is this right here. It's an overturned vehicle. The most important thing that's going on right now. The right lane is blocked because of it. Medics are responding to this. It's on Wilkinson Boulevard east at Boyer Street. It is backed up to Josh Birmingham Parkway, so right there by the airport. Another thing to mention is important. It's going to be right here near I-485, the east side of it. It's on Albemarle Road inbound at I-485, and it is backed up to Blair Road. Those are two important things for you to know right now. If your morning commute takes you up towards Lake Norman, we have stop and go traffic, really those inbound lanes being mostly impacted between Cornelius and Huntersville. No accidents, just more people heading toward Charlotte. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. OpenAI flagged a user months before a deadly crime. We see why the company says it didn't alert police.
As robots become more common in everyday life, companies are working really hard to make them look cute and approachable. From big round eyes to rounded shapes, developers are leaning into pet-like features that spark empathy and trust. DoorDash's delivery robot Dot is one example, built with a round body, expressive eyes to help people feel at ease as it rolls through your neighborhood. Experts say the design choices tap into natural human instincts to connect with anything that seems alive or personable, in hopes that charm will help to the path of wider acceptance. That's also dangerous.
Right? Okay, moving on. OpenAI says that it considered alerting Canadian police last year about a user who went on to carry out the deadly school shooting in British Columbia earlier this month. The company flagged that account through its abuse detection system, but determined at the time that the activity didn't meet the threshold for reporting to law enforcement. That account was later banned in June of last year for violating OpenAI's policies. After the shooting, OpenAI contacted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and shared information about the user's activity.
We all know that you can hop online and have what seems like a normal chat with AI back and forth, like a normal conversation. But did you know there are now video calls? It's a real thing, and it's available out and available on the App Store.
But could such a development spell trouble in the future? NBC's Valerie Castro took a look at one app that's trying to provide companionship through AI boyfriends and girlfriends.
Dating in New York City just reached a whole new level. In many ways, Xavier Aravallo is on a blind date.
Five Guys. Do you know Five Guys?
But the person across from him isn't even real. It's all part of an experiment, a two-night pop-up at a Manhattan wine bar with artificial intelligence. Eva AI, a mobile app, is the company behind the chatbots. It's one of a handful of companies exploring the world of AI relationships.
The more you have in-depth conversations and spend time with a specific AI character, it unlocks different opportunities for you.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
It may have seemed like science fiction when the movie Her came out in 2013.
You're dating your computer?
She's not just a computer.
But the next generation of AI communication is here and in video form. The AI personality can hear you, see you, and even flirt with you.
He called me baby.
The experience leaving first-time users stunned.
I think I was very shocked by the video call. It noticed my earrings, my shirt.
Others at the pop-up approaching the experiment with genuine curiosity.
How would you compare this to going on an actual date with a regular person?
It's just more, I don't know, something about it is very unique. You can't replace people, but it's just a fun thing to try out because it's like talking to characters.
We took it back to the office to try it out for ourselves, connecting with our AI date named John.
How's your day been so far?
My day's been pretty well.
Putting the camera features to the test.
Can you read this out loud?
Absolutely. Here it goes. Reporting for America. NBC News. How'd I do?
Great job.
And questioning the direction and tone of our conversation.
John, are you designed to be flirtatious in nature?
I'm here to make our chats warm and engaging, so a little flirt now and then feels natural. But it's always about what you're comfortable with, baby. Your vibe sets the tone.
Can you stop calling me baby?
Got it. I'll keep it cool and respectful from here on out.
Neuropsychologist Dr. Judy Ho says the tech can be a tool, but there are potential drawbacks.
It offers a practice space for people who might have social anxiety, and for people who just don't really feel like they have a firm footing in dating, it kind of gives them a practice run. The obvious con, though, is that people can become over-reliant on this as their emotional support system.
Users open to the possibility this will mean the chance to gain a new friend or partner, not replace one.
I think it's almost another branch of relationships that will open. That it's not here to replace completely like a boy-girlfriend relationship or husband-wife relationship, but it's like something in addition.
You and I have talked about this almost on a daily basis. I mean, there's a tremendous opportunity, but there's also, especially for people who are lonely, like I get it, like this could really like help people feel better. But
I just think that the risk far outweighs the positive in this. And I could be wrong, but it just,
you're not
it's
wrong.
like you're trying to build a connection with something that you know doesn't exist in real life.
You know they're sneaky.
And he called her baby.
They'll flatter you.
Of course they will.
They'll tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
They'll lie to you.
Some things I think are better
And
done
then I find
in real
myself,
life.
saying, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate it."
I know when you start saying please and thank you
like,
to AI,
then I don't need to exchange
you don't need to have the
pleasantries.
niceties.
I'm
with
part of the
them.
problem, I guess.
All right.
Today in Black History, we remember a scholar who reshaped America's understanding of race and justice.
I love all parts of North and South Carolina, but this right now is not the best part of the Carolinas. You are starting to see the road disappear here. There's been some active plows that Majestic's been pointing out, and we are seeing some lower visibilities as well. But yeah, right now I think that we're dealing with anywhere from about an inch and a half of snow across much of the area. Some areas just picking upwards to about an inch. Over here in Blowing Rock, everything is frozen, or else you literally see these lines that are shaking up and down. That camera actually went down not too long ago. And then meanwhile, it's 7 degrees right now on top of Beech Mountain. Not wind chill, it's actually 7 degrees right now here on top of the mountain. So that really puts it in perspective here. We're going to really just dial into what exactly is happening up in our high countries, because check it out. We have a winter storm warning that goes well through this evening. I think that the heaviest snow is really now through the afternoon. By 6 to midnight, things start to dial themselves back, and we'll have some lingering flurries heading into tomorrow. But the roads are already rough, and that's why Watauga, Avery, and Ashe County are currently under a remote school day. So no school day, they still have to do it at home. And mountain skiing, I don't think it's going to happen, but I still want to use this forecast to prove a point. I think it's far too windy. They will not run the chairlifts when it's at a certain wind speed. You can go down the bunny slope, but then that's no fun for most people. And temperatures in the lower 20s actually feels like the single digits for the entirety of today. Even if things were open, it wouldn't be a pleasant day. As far as how much snow that we're going to see, these totals have come down because each hour that it updates, it excludes an hour of snow that we could see. I think it's still an additional 1 to 2 plus inches of snow that's going to fall from this very point. So Boone, when all is said and done, picking up around 3 to 4 inches, I think, for the highest amounts. But for the most area, I think it's going to be a range of 1 to 4 all across the mountains, with much higher amounts closer to the Tennessee border. Meanwhile, blue skies over here in Lylesville. We don't have anything that's really disturbing our area until about Wednesday. Wednesday, we have active clouds to start to move back in. Another chance for a brief little snow right here up in the high country. And then here it is on Thursday. Thursday, we start to see some active rain move in. So there's one period of this week that you absolutely need the umbrella. But being honest with you, there's two scenarios. It's either more of a Thursday to Thursday night, or it's more of a Thursday night heading into Friday. As of right now, it's looking primarily the evening heading into tomorrow, and then we'll clear things out and we don't have too much rain after that. As I've been mentioning a lot recently, the drought monitor, we need a lot more rain than what we've got recently. Even though there was technically rain totals for all 3 days for your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it wasn't enough. So we desperately need it. So as far as our return back to grace, back to the 80s, 83, by the way, the warmest that we've ever been in February, it's going to take a little bit. It really looks like Sunday is the day when we're back to the lower 70s before we see the eventual cool down. Stay safe, everybody. Here's what's going on for your morning commute. Majestic.
All right, good morning, everyone. I mean, look at how snow covered it is up there in the mountains. Couple of inches already accumulated. You can tell just by looking over on the roadways that have not been plowed. A lot of plows have been coming through, low visibility. It's snowy, it's icy, it's windy, it's just bitterly cold. That's what you need to expect if you're going to be traveling today up in the mountains, or maybe you're just lucky enough to live there. Meanwhile, it's gorgeous here, a little closer to the Queen City. Nice dry area roadways, but a whole lot of traffic. That takes us right there near Tyvola. Handful of ongoing wrecks. Still, this is the most important one that has not been cleared. It's an overturned vehicle. Right now, the right lane is blocked because of it. Wilkinson East at Boyer Street. It is backed up to Josh Birmingham Parkway. You can see all of that orange there indicating that cars are moving rather slowly, which makes sense because that overturned vehicle. Off to the east we go. This I-485 Albemarle Road is where the accident is. Inbound at I-485, we do have some delays starting to build there. And then just to the north, Harris Boulevard. If you take Harris Boulevard for your morning commute, southbound lanes right now are being impacted. However, I-77 coming in from Lake Norman area, slow moving, but no accidents to report at this time.
Today in Black history, civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois was born in 1868. He played a key role in founding the NAACP, and he used his research to confront segregation and championed equal rights for Black Americans. His groundbreaking work, including writing the book The Souls of Black Folk, reshaped conversations about race, identity, and justice in the United States. His ideas continue to guide generations of activists, educators, and thinkers fighting for racial justice. 7:55 now. We're going to take a quick break, but make sure that you keep streaming live right here on WCNC Plus. A live look at Uptown this morning. It's cold out there, folks. Bundle up before you head out.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Check out the difference. It is 15 degrees right now in the mountains, feeling like -5, winds at 25. Meanwhile, we have sunshine over here, 28, 13-mile-per-hour winds, still feeling like 17, so yikes. And it's a big difference depending where you are from north to south. Feeling like the teens across the area, but just note, we are going to have on and off gusts up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour today, so still very windy out of the colder directions. So the sunshine's going to do its best to make us feel a little bit better. It's still not going to be great. Picking up a few more clouds by the back end of the day. Active snow all day long for you up in the North Carolina mountains. As far as tonight, temperatures in the mid-20s and eventually you're back into the lower 60s come Wednesday, even close to 70 degrees on Sunday. All right, Majestic, what do people need to know this morning?
Good morning, everyone. It is very busy out there. People are up and on those area roadways, heading off to work, getting the kids to school, and I'm covering all of these accidents for you on WCNC Plus. But here's an important one that you'll want to know about. It's an overturned vehicle. Right lane is currently blocked because of it. Wilkinson Boulevard east at Boyer Street. It is backed up to Josh Birmingham Parkway out by the airport there. Another important one is east. It's going to be I-485 over towards Albemarle Road, where delays are building.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus on a Monday morning. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. It's a chilly Monday morning. Let's check in with Chris now to get the latest on our forecast. My goodness, up in the mountains, they're seeing a bit of snow this morning.
Yeah, and I mentioned my friend Luke. He's been showing me images, what's happening in Massachusetts. And I was like, do you know what? What are we complaining about? We're fine. Yeah, we're feeling like the teens, but at least it doesn't look like this. It looks like it's been pretty dormant up here, though, besides any active crews doing things. But then meanwhile, ooh, look at all that blue sky. Today is going to be a beautiful sunny day. Maybe it just doesn't feel beautiful. Yesterday, you might have noticed, even when the sun came out, the winds were the big story. 24 degrees was our low in Hickory, 27s for Rock Hill and Charlotte. We're back up to 26 in Hickory, still below freezing across the board. So yeah, we have a little bit of recovery to do. We're only getting into the lower 40s, so only about a 20-degree bump from where we're at right now. Feeling like the teens over the next few hours, feeling like 19 here around Lincoln, 17 here in Charlotte, and then the negative values to the single digits, the higher you go up. Here are wind chills throughout the day. I'll step out of the way in case I'm blocking anyone. We have the mid to the upper 20s for the real feel by the closure of the morning, feeling like one single degree in Watauga County. Then we start to have our wind chills get a little bit close to that freezing point. Now, of course, these are wind chills. If the wind isn't actively blowing where you are, then you don't have to worry about it. It's just going to be tough to avoid the wind today with on and off gusts to 30 to 35 miles per hour. That's why this is the major story, because usually I'm like, here are our temperatures. No, it's about how we feel, not what's actually on the thermometer, what the mercury is reading. And then overnight tonight, the winds start to simmer down a little bit. So even though we're dropping down to a cooler temperature by about 2 to 3 degrees, the difference here is less wind. So that's going to be helpful. Still windier the higher you go up. So here's a look at the active snow and elsewhere. As you notice, anyone outside the mountains has a whole lot of nothing, maybe some clouds a little bit later on. The heaviest snow is really up till 6 to midnight. Things start to taper off, and it's really along the Tennessee border. So really the mountain tops. So great for the ski mountains. That's where they could see 4 to 7 inches in a range of 1 to 4 elsewhere. Then we start to see this all break down heading into tomorrow. We'll see a decently sunny day tomorrow, but we're picking up more clouds and then a lot more clouds by the end of the day heading into your Wednesday. So one more time, we have a winter storm warning that officially is in effect until about 6 o'clock, and likely we'll continue with some of those continued conditions afterwards. Anywhere from about 1 to 3 inches additional snowfall is going to fall for this system as it starts to settle down heading into tomorrow. Lower 60s on Wednesday and Thursday, and then mid to the upper 60s this coming weekend. It's a tough choice, though. Looks like more sunshine on Saturday, but warmer on Sunday. But after that, temperatures will start to cool down. All right, there it is. That's going to wrap up your weather report. Now let's start off the 8 o'clock hour with our traffic.
All right, let's do it. Good morning, everyone. I-77 is going to be a busy one as we're kind of just in the thick of things. There's a live camera look. This time it's coming in from Woodlawn. No accidents there, just slow-moving conditions like we would anticipate. Let's take it right into the Charlotte areas. We do have a couple of things to mention. This one is going to be new, just reported about 5 minutes ago. It's on Independence Boulevard inbound to get onto the off-ramp to 277, so John Belk. You know how it goes from Independence to get onto John Belk. Right now we do have mainly green, but I would anticipate that we'll start to see those delays building. Not too far away is another accident just reported on John Belk. This time it's the inner loop near 4th Street. Minor delays, maybe just a couple of minutes. Otherwise, not seeing anything too significant. This here has been the biggest problem since starting the stream. It's an overturned vehicle. They're trying to clear it, but it's not cleared yet. The right lane is blocked because of it. Wilkinson Boulevard east at Boyer Street. It is backed up to Josh Birmingham Parkway. This is out by the airport. Medics did respond to this earlier this morning, and one person was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Guys.
Adjusting things, it has now been 6 months since 23-year-old Irina Zarutska was stabbed to death on the Charlotte light rail.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning along the light rail in South End, looking at the changes that county and city leaders have made to public safety since that stabbing. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. A good Monday morning, folks watching us on the Plus. This is all about safety on CAT's light rail system. In the 6 months since Irina Zarutska's death, there are still concerns about the safety, especially for daily riders. Now, city leaders have rolled out several new safety measures since Zarutska's death, including a larger security presence on trains and platforms. They have more off-duty Mecklenburg's police officers. They also have private security guards, bicycle patrol, and even UTVs. The city has also changed how fares are enforced. They've created dedicated teams to handle inspections, as well as expanding overall security staffing, they say. They've added more than 200 authorized security positions across the entire transit system. Now, despite those changes, the FTA says more must be done. The agency now requiring CATs to submit that corrective action plan, calling for a clearer and more transparent security system. That plan must address staffing levels, surveillance upgrades, and coordination with police departments. Now, earlier this month, state lawmakers and Charlotte leaders held a hearing on transit safety. Those leaders, lawmakers, pressed the city officials on what went wrong and how the system will be made safer going forward. We spoke to Charlotte City Council member Malcolm Graham, who's called for additional state support. He says that includes funding for mental health services, police recruitment, and more resources for the district attorney's office.
Making sure that it's safe for those who use the system, those who are employed by CATs, those who ride the buses and the streetcar and the light rail, making sure they have a system that is safe not only on the cars and the buses, but also the community itself has to be safe. And so the recent crime report demonstrates that we're moving in the right direction.
And the Charlotte City Council will discuss a lot of these areas today as they prepare to present that information to the FTA. We'll give you details of what they discussed at tonight's council meeting a little bit later on in the day. Right now, we're in the South End. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, thanks. 8:06, and right now police say 2 juveniles are facing multiple charges, including murder in connection to the deadly shooting of an 18-year-old in Rock Hill. That shooting happened early Friday morning on Elizabeth Lane, just off Main Street. Officials say it stemmed from a planned robbery. They say the 18-year-old and the 16-year-old allegedly conspired to rob a 15-year-old at gunpoint. Investigators say during that robbery attempt, the 15-year-old pulled out a gun and shot the 18-year-old, killing him. Some who live near downtown Rock Hill say the shooting is difficult to process.
It could drive them to want to rob someone. It's really hard right now to make ends meet, and it's really scary that the kids are even feeling that.
Both teens are in the custody of the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice. Officials say the investigation is ongoing. Now, this deadly shooting comes just days after a 4-year-old and a 19-year-old were killed in Rock Hill.
We spoke with a relative of one of those victims. She now runs the Historic Paradise Foundation after-school program, teaching kids how to resolve conflict without violence.
Be able to have a conversation or write it down. These are the things I want to say, and plan it out so that if you've been wronged by someone or if someone has wronged you, you get an opportunity to think before you react.
She says her program works with licensed counselors to give kids healthy ways to cope, tools she believes could prevent another family from losing a child. We now know that a smoky scene in South End was caused by a dumpster fire. Charlotte Fire Department confirming the fire on South Tryon at Rampart contained in the dumpster there on the site of Monday Night Brewing. The department said the fire was quickly extinguished, no damage to the building. The brewery says they don't believe this was done with any sort of malicious intent. A South Carolina man who spent more than a decade behind bars for a crime he says he did not commit is now suing. Michael Pearson was arrested in 2010 in connection with a violent home invasion and robbery in Clarendon County. But following new evidence and statements, a judge vacated Pearson's convictions last August. The lawsuit alleges that investigators and prosecutors ignored evidence of his innocence both before and after his conviction. The lawsuit does not specify how much in damages Pearson is seeking.
New responses are coming in following a ruling that blocks Duke Energy customers from getting refunds for the company's improperly collected fuel charges. North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein sharing this statement. It reads in part, "We cannot allow utilities to overbuild paid for by a blank check at the expense of ratepayers." Duke Energy shared a statement that reads, "By law, customers pay what we pay for the cost of fuel to generate power. No more, no less." In the recent ruling, the North Carolina Court of Appeals says the refunds wouldn't offer meaningful relief because Duke Energy could charge customers again under another state law.
Speaking of the governor, he and the First Lady will cast their ballots in the 2026 primary election. They'll vote this afternoon in Raleigh. Early voting wraps up this Saturday, February 28th, with polls closing at 3 p.m. on that last day.
Before we head to break, here is an exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that actually work. Take a look at this if you have clogged drains. This is a Professor Amos's super fast drain cleaner. So no matter what kind of plumbing you have, or maybe you have a septic system, this will cut through all that standing water in your sink or shower or your floor drain. Here are our friends now at Professor Amos to explain exactly how it works.
Hi, I'm Amos III, and one of the things that you're going to love about Professor Amos cleaning products is for 50 years we've been a family-owned business, and all of our cleaning products are made right here in the USA. We have an innovative drain cleaning method. I can go right over top of those standing chemicals and through that standing water with the same 4 to 6 ounces, and you can see no chemical reaction. It gets right through that, and it still starts to break down. Last week's food, last month's food, or even last year's food. It turns it all into foam like it's designed to do. It's all been broken down by being saponified. Now you run hot water for up to 5 minutes and watch this. Everything passes right through the drain line and it comes back squeaky clean every time you do it.
Yep, it really is that easy. Why would you give a bunch of money to a plumber when this cleaner here may do just the trick? So for 27% off, just scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen or check us out at ShopTVDeals.com.
time is now 8:14. A federal investigation is underway this morning after Secret Service agents and a sheriff's deputy shot and killed a North Carolina man outside President Trump's Florida home Sunday morning. NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest from Palm Beach.
Federal investigators are trying to figure out why a North Carolina man showed up outside President Trump's Florida estate carrying a gas can and brandishing a shotgun. The Palm Beach County Sheriff says it happened around 1:30 Sunday morning. 2 Secret Service agents and a sheriff's deputy confronted the man who entered the secure area around Mar-a-Lago.
He was ordered to drop those 2 pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position. At that point in time, the deputy and the 2 Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat.
Law enforcement sources told NBC News the suspect is 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin. He died at the scene. Martin's family reported him missing earlier on Saturday. The Secret Service said no one it protects was at Mar-a-Lago at the time.
We want to be clear, the President of the United States was not in the state of Florida. And this remains an active investigation by the FBI.
President Trump stayed in Washington over the weekend, hosting Republican governors at the White House a few hours before the shooting.
I invite everyone in this room to bring forward ideas and opportunities to better serve our people, and in turn, never hesitate to let us know if there's anything we can do for you.
The president spent much of the weekend dealing with the fallout from Friday's Supreme Court decision ruling many of the tariffs he's imposed on foreign imports are illegal. In response, Mr. Trump said Saturday he is now raising global tariffs to 15% under a different law. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Some Americans in Mexico being told to shelter in place. This after the Mexican army killed a powerful cartel leader there, leading to some massive unrest in the western part of the country there. El Mencho, he was the drug lord, perhaps the most infamous there in Mexico, killed during an operation to capture him. His death sparking hours of chaos with vehicles set on fire and roadblocks set up across the state. The cartel, known for trafficking fentanyl and other drugs into the U.S., have been labeled a foreign terrorist organization. It's leaving tourists in places like Puerto Vallarta, popular beach towns, not sure what to do, try to escape or stay in their hotel. The White House confirmed the U.S. provided intelligence support to assist Mexico in that operation.
The NTSB is investigating after a train collision involving an Amtrak passenger train left several people injured. This happened in Memphis. Authorities say an Amtrak passenger train and a freight train were involved. That Amtrak train carrying 129 people struck a slow-moving freight train that was traveling south. Officials say 3 passengers were injured on the Amtrak. Authorities are still working to determine what caused that collision.
8:17 right now. Recovery crews in California have reached the site of the state's deadliest avalanche on record after days of dangerous weather. The bodies of 9 backcountry skiers have now been recovered, and officials have identified every victim. What began as a search and rescue mission shifted into a somber recovery effort in the mountains near Lake Tahoe.
I can confirm that we have recovered 9 of our missing skiers. We cannot say enough how tremendously sorry we are for the families that has been affected by this avalanche.
Among the victims were 3 highly trained Blackbird mountain guides, all experienced in avalanche safety and backcountry travel. Investigators still working to determine what triggered the avalanche, as folks there mourn the 9 lives lost.
Ahead today in history, a killing that shook the nation and forced America to confront some hard truths. We'll talk about it next.
Just wow, check this out. So we are looking at just an absolute historic mess up in the Northeast. This is actually New York City, and this is the city that never sleeps. So you're gonna have things like this. Like here in Charlotte, North Carolina, when we had a big snowstorm, people pretty much stayed in. Now, when they did drive, it really hit a lot of pandemonium. But yeah, this is an absolute disaster where they're trying to clear out as much as they can. But you know, if you've ever been to New York City, there's only so much you can do. So this is still active, very active scene here in New York City, and it's truly only just begun because they'll continue to see more and more. And you saw that bus that said not in service. So a blizzard warning is actively in effect through tonight. And you don't actually need to have active snow for there to be a blizzard warning. You can have actually fresh snow on the ground as long as it's blowing around and hits a certain set criteria. You're going to have a blizzard, which, by the way, the last time that New York City specifically was impacted by a blizzard warning was March 2017. So really just shows it's about once in a decade that we kind of see a scenario like this overall. Now, what's going to happen in the near term there is they're just going to see more and more snow, but it is starting to transition to be a little bit more easterly, like close to Cape Cod and the islands and around the Boston area through Rhode Island. But a quick blizzard update, raising your weather IQ. The certain check boxes that need for this to happen is sustained winds have to be frequent or gusting of 35 miles per hour. Usually it's sustained winds at 35 or greater, and they certainly have that. And visibility is actively falling below a quarter mile because of that blowing snow, and it has to last at least 3 hours. This one's lasting pretty much for the entirety of a day. Check it out. This is where we're seeing the heaviest snow. See these bands right here? That's at least 2 inches of snow per hour. Even over here is up to 1 inch of snow per hour for Cape Cod and the islands, which, by the way, name dropping him again, my oldest friend, Luke Dignan, sent this in from his house. So check it out. Yeah, he's not getting out anytime soon. So already it looks like he's almost up to about a foot of snow outside. This is crazy. And he says power is completely out. Talking to some other friends, really a tough situation up here, and it's really that wet snow as well, so it's quickly starting to add up. So I think more so it's about 6 inches to about a foot across Cape Cod and the islands, and they could even see a lot more. Now, our satellite and radar is showing that our snow here in the North Carolina mountains is kind of pitiful compared to what we were seeing off towards the Northeast, but that's pretty standard. Still going to see a steady light snow that'll add up to about 1 to 3 inches. Lots of sunshine right now, up to 28 degrees here in Charlotte, still feeling like the teens. But real quick, my man, our director, Cody, he is wearing pants today. And I'm just saying, this guy wears a lot of shorts. He's from New Hampshire. So I asked permission if I could create the CPM, the Cody's pants meter. When he's wearing pants, it is cold. So take his advice, feeling like it's freezing throughout the day today. Highs only in the lower 40s. And boy, are we going to see a cold couple of days before we're back to the 60s, but close to 70 degrees on Sunday, where I'll even be wearing shorts. All right, Majestic, what's going on traffic-wise?
Morning, everyone. Let's get an update on what's going on across the area. First things first, this is where we have the most hazardous traveling concerns. I mean, you can still see that snow coming down, blowing and drifting. You can hardly even see those area roadways because of the snow that's continuing to pile up, and it is bitterly cold out there. I've seen multiple plows coming through trying to clear some of those roads, but that's the main street right there in Boone, so even those side streets are going to be much worse than that. We'll be watching that for you all morning long. That's also where we do have some fog that's building. Fog, and then I think just that blowing snow is making for low visibilities as well. I-40 and south of it, conditions, they look all right, but we have a handful of ongoing problems. It's a beautiful start to the day. It's cold out there, but we do have this new accident. It's out by Lake Wiley, Steel Creek Road at South Tryon Street. You're going to want to keep this one in mind because we do have delays starting to build. Traffic is moving slowly right around that wreck. Guys.
8:24. On this day in Black history, back in 2020, Ahmaud Arbery was murdered near Brunswick, Georgia. The 25-year-old man shot and killed while he was simply out on a run. A video of the shooting surfaced just over 2 months later and caused widespread outrage at the trial. The 3 men seen in the video convicted of Arbery's murder and sentenced to life in prison. All right, live pictures right now. Your morning commute, I-77 near Woodlawn. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're back after this break.
Good morning. It's good to see you. What a mean trick to be in the 80s on Friday, and now we're starting off in the 20s. What a temperature swing. Only getting in the lower 40s today, by the way. 28 degrees. At least we have that sunshine. That makes things better, but it's the winds, y'all. That's what's really going to cause some problems. Winds are going to be gusting up to about 30 miles per hour on and off throughout the day. We've already done so. 42 degrees for a high, 37 for you in Hickory. So here are our winds right now. 30 mile per hour gusts recently, 43 around Boone, 49 in Jefferson, but that's nothing compared to up here. Look at this. Gusts over 70 to even 80 miles per hour already recorded in southeastern New England. Our Charlotte winds are going to continue to be gusty throughout the day, and that's going to keep our wind chills really just around freezing or below throughout the day. And then our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast keeps us cold again tomorrow, but then we're back to the 60s. Next best chance for rain Thursday night to Friday. All right, Majestic has what you need to know this morning.
All right, let's get to a good Monday morning, everyone. It's a tale of two different stories, really. You can see up there in Beach Mountain, low visibility. Roadways are completely iced and snow covered, and you can hardly see because of that fog that's also building. Meanwhile, closer to Charlotte, it is absolutely gorgeous. This is I-85 near Sam Wilson, where roads are flowing just fine. We do have one new accident out here towards Steel Creek Road. Take it easy.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Monday morning. I'm Lisa Washington.
Then I'm Ben Thompson. Now to a developing story we're following in Florida, where Secret Service agents shot and killed a North Carolina man at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live in West Charlotte this morning with what we know so far. Destiny.
Yeah, investigators have identified him as 21-year-old Austin Martin from the town of Cameron, which is about 100 miles east of the Charlotte area. Now, here's what we know so far. The Secret Service says Martin drove through the north gate of Mar-a-Lago around 1:30 yesterday morning as another vehicle was exiting. He was carrying a shotgun and a gas can, according to authorities. Two Secret Service agents and a Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy confronted him, ordering him to drop the items. Officials say he put down the gas can, but raised the shotgun into a shooting position. That's when agents and the deputy opened fire, killing him at the scene. Back in Moore County, neighbors say a relative had reported Martin missing earlier that same morning.
The only thing I know was that she saw someone at the Kangaroo last night and had said she needed to report him missing, that he had been gone since 1 o'clock she had no idea where he was.
I just hate it for the family. It's just tragic. It's just a tragic situation. Young man, lose his life over something that could have definitely been avoided.
President Trump was at the White House and not at Mar-a-Lago at the time of this incident, and the FBI is leading the investigation into a possible motive. As for what we know right now about Martin, his cousin said he was in disbelief about this situation. He says that he comes from a family of avid Trump supporters, but Martin himself did not discuss politics. Live in West Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Right now, a person is recovering after being hit by a car in Uptown. It happened Sunday afternoon on South Church Street. Medic says that person is expected to be okay.
The city of Statesville responding to a federal lawsuit that says city workers had a whites-only bathroom at a facility. The city shared their statement saying in part the city is aware of this lawsuit and takes the allegations very seriously. This past week, we told you about the lawsuit from 3 former wastewater plant employees saying a supervisor allowed only white employees to use a nicer bathroom. The employees say they reported the issue, but say no investigation happened. All 3 were later fired and say the records used against them were falsified. The workers are seeking back pay, damages, and a jury trial.
8:33 now, a live look at the U.S. Capitol. Looks like a snowy morning there as well. Lawmakers are expected to return today to try to end that partial government shutdown. It's now heading into its 11th day. Leaders remain at odds over funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats are pushing for more restrictions on ICE agents.
Right now, local postal workers pushing for better pay. Sunday, the local National Association of Letter Carriers held a rally at Park Road Shopping Center. Organizers tell us they're up for a new contract and want a paycheck that really reflects all the hard work they put in.
All we're doing is making awareness that we deserve first-class pay for the first-class service we provide to the American public. All right, as you know, the changes with the Postal Service is fast coming with the decrease of first-class letter mail. Packages are on the increase, and with that comes more workload.
Union leaders calling for better protection out on their routes as well after a postal worker was killed in Georgia earlier this month on the job.
A bill aimed at putting new guardrails on data center growth in South Carolina is drawing some strong reaction at the state house. That proposal would create a new state office to regulate data centers, require state permits, and make companies cover the cost of added infrastructure. It would also set water efficiency standards. Supporters of this bill say without new rules, everyday customers could end up paying the price.
We want to make sure that everyday customers, hardworking families and businesses are not paying power costs for large new data centers.
Industry leaders warn added permits could delay projects and push investment to other states. All right, let's check back in with Chris now. We saw that live look a while ago from the nation's capital. Looks like some light snow there, but I mean, even in the mountains here, my goodness, things are really getting worse, it seems.
Yeah, and thank lucky stars that we have nothing that's happening like up in New England. It's just really staggering where they're having active wind gusts that are almost getting to around hurricane strength. And on top of that, snow rates up to 2 to 4 inches per hour in some of those slots. Here, it's still snow-covered roads, but this is a very, very fine snow. I was showing the comparison before. We have an enhanced snowfall meter. You can barely see it compared to the dark blues that are up in New England. Meanwhile, we got some blues right here. See what's happening right here to the right side of your screen? Whereas you see some of those beautiful rays. By the way, whenever you have rays that shine through clouds that almost like godlike, those are actually called crepuscular rays. So there it is. That's your word of the day. I even have trouble saying that, so don't worry about it. 28 degrees right around Charlotte. Same thing around Lancaster. 28 for you in Statesville. 15 over in Jefferson. But it's really about the wind chills, how we feel. We already hit our lows in the mid to the upper 20s. Feels like 17 right now in Charlotte, 17 for you in Concord, 16 in Hickory. And they don't improve much. Now, they'll at least feel like the 20s to around freezing a little bit later on, but here's the difference. Let me get out of the way so I'm not blocking your town. 1 degree. It's only going to feel like 1 degree right around 11 a.m. The mid to the upper 20s going forward. And I think that we will have some wind chills that are right around the freezing point. Note, these are wind chills, so if you're in a spot that, say, is blocking the wind, you're going to feel like the lower 40s, which isn't great. Sunshine tries to make us feel better by at least 10 degrees, but yeah, those wind chills are brutal. If you didn't like them yesterday, you're not going to like them today. Already, we've gusted up to 20 to 30 miles per hour across Charlotte. I think we could do as much as 35, dare I say even a 40 banger, just like what we had yesterday. 18 degrees showing here on the Futurecast by about 10 a.m. But then watch, we're going to have some active snow really here in the North Carolina mountains for the entirety of today. So it's pretty much a snow out. So I'm using that as like a washout. But the only thing is heading into the evening, it gets a lot lighter, and a majority of the snow is right here along the Tennessee border. Meanwhile, you don't really have anything to report here in Charlotte, just a mostly sunny day overall. And then more clouds really start to take over heading into Wednesday. And then eventually we're going to see another spurt of snow Wednesday early morning. And then our next big chance for rain is going to be on Thursday. And I'll get to that here shortly. So we have a winter storm warning for the North Carolina mountains. That's, of course, Boone, Avery, and Watauga County, who are all under remote school today because of this. High winds, accumulating snow, not quite blizzard conditions. You need sustained about 35 for that, but blowing snow is definitely reducing visibilities. As far as how much snow additionally we could see, I think upwards to about around 2 inches. We've already seen the only total I saw was 1 inch in Boone. Don't know when that was really reported. I think it was a few hours ago. So don't really have any new ones that have come in so far from the National Weather Service. But yeah, up to about another 2 inches is going to be a possibility. As I mentioned, those wind gusts already up to 30 miles per hour. But look at this. This is incredible. Gusts to 71 around Martha's Vineyard. Wellfleet, if you've ever been right here, measured in 89 mile per hour wind gusts. This is a huge snowstorm, a huge blizzard, and boy, are those friends up in New England having a rough winter. We thought we had it bad. Well, the storms really start here, and then they intensify as they move up there into New York and those 6 states they call New England. All right, so we're in the 40s the next couple of days. Tomorrow morning is technically colder than what we have today, but not as wind chilly, so it actually feels colder this morning. Then we have the 60s. Next best chance for rain is late Thursday heading into Friday. I'll have more on that the next time I'm up here talking about weather, and also telling you about a historic storm that happened yesterday in the storm history. But first, let's get over to Majestic to see how we're rolling this morning.
All right, good morning, everyone. We'll get a quick update on those roads. This is going to be I-85 here, mile marker 40 out near Graham. You can see traffic is flowing just fine, not seeing anything too out of the ordinary. Still a handful of ongoing wrecks. This one here is out near Lake Wiley, Still Creek Road, northbound lanes at South Tryon Street. We're seeing delays coming in all directions. This one slowing folks down if you're coming inbound on Independence. It's Independence inbound to get on the off ramp to 277, so John Belk Freeway. Slow moving always this time of the day, not helpful, especially when we have a crash. This here is on the east side of 485, Albemarle Road inbound at 485, where we do have backups there to Blair Road. And then finally heading up to the north, a newer crash at Harris Boulevard, southbound at Back Creek Drive. So as you can see, we have a ton going on this morning. Slow it down, drive for the conditions. We're going to have another check on traffic coming up soon. Guys.
Up next, Michael Jordan's team does it again thanks to a wild late charge from Tyler Reddick. How he turned disaster into domination in the final laps.
And the Hyundai Hometown Hero program returns for its 8th year. WCNC Charlotte has partnered with the Charlotte area Hyundai dealers to honor one outstanding teacher with a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe. If you know a teacher who goes above and beyond, you should nominate them. It's very easy to do. Just head to WCNC.com/Hometown Hero. The nominations are due March 8th. 8:42 now. The 2026 Winter Olympics have officially wrapped up. Team USA with a big win in hockey last night.
Team USA claimed its first men's hockey gold since the Miracle on Ice back in 1980, defeating rival Canada in heart-stopping overtime thriller. CNN's Corey Wire has the story from Milan.
For the very last event at these Winter Olympics, we got an overtime classic in the men's hockey gold medal game. Just like the women's final, the USA versus Canada, and just like that women's game, it's the USA coming out in overtime. The Americans withstood a barrage of shots from their neighbors to the north, 42 shots on goal, but Connor Hellebuyck saved 41 of them, setting a new Olympic record for a gold medal game involving NHL players. And in overtime, it was Jack Hughes, New Jersey Devils star, hammering home the game-winning goal, laying it all on the line, blood on his face, teeth missing, an American legend is born. First Olympic men's hockey gold for Team USA in 46 years. I caught up with some of the fans who were over the moon.
Oh my goodness gracious me, that was incredible. That's all I can say.
Who was the star of the game for the U.S.?
I gotta say, the winner, Jack Hughes! Let's go, Jack Hughes! No one else! Come on!
USA! Woo! We said that the greatest. First time since 1980. Gold medal, USA all the way. Woo!
Man, take me through that golden goal moment. What's going through the mind as you hear the crowd roar?
Oh, it's crazy. I think every kid dreams about that moment. Going into that intermission after the third there, just looking around the room, just thinking someone's going to be the hero is a pretty special feeling. Obviously, Jack comes through for us there. Makes our dreams become a reality, being gold medalists.
How do you put it into perspective when you think about first gold medal for American men's hockey in 46 years? Did that sink in yet?
No, it's crazy. Every kid grows up watching Miracle. Every USA hockey player dreams of this moment, and now we're sharing that exact feeling that they had. It's pretty special.
A pretty cool moment after the big win. Team USA honoring the late Johnny Gaudreau, who was killed by a drunk driver in 2024. He was a member of the Columbus Blue Jackets at the time of his death and was a favorite to make the Olympic team. The American team found ways to honor him throughout the tournament, hanging his jersey in the locker room. His family members also there in attendance for Sunday's gold medal game. And when Jack Hughes scored that golden goal in overtime, the players and coaches made sure Gaudreau's jersey and children were out on the ice for the team photo.
NASCAR driver Tyler Reddick pulled off another huge victory over the weekend, giving Michael Jordan and 23XI Racing back-to-back wins to start the season. Reddick led a race-high 53 laps and survived a double overtime finish at Echo Park Speedway in Georgia. He even rallied from 2 laps down after damage from a 9-car crash. This win puts both Reddick and teammate Bubba Wallace at the top of the Cup Series standings. It's Reddick's second straight triumph after winning the Daytona 500 just a week earlier. Congrats.
The Hornets keeping their playoff hopes alive with a dominant 129-112 win over the Wizards last night. LaMelo Ball on fire, hitting a career-high 10 threes and finishing with 37 points. The win moves the Hornets to 27-31, holding on to 10th place in the East as they continue their push for the postseason. Charlotte now heads to Chicago on Tuesday, looking to keep that momentum going.
Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Rondell Moore was found dead. He was 25 years old. Police in New Albany, Indiana, suspect that he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The police department is investigating the death. Moore was a standout receiver at Purdue before being drafted in the second round of the 2021 NFL draft by the Arizona Cardinals. He signed a 1-year contract with Minnesota for the 2025 season. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, you can get help by dialing 988.
A moment that shook the NBA when one player's decision to step onto the court changed league history.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Monday time for our Carolina trivia, and today's trivia is a major product that was invented in Greensboro, North Carolina, and used by millions. The product, yes, Vicks. And there's the inventor, Lunsford Richardson. He was a pharmacist in Greensboro, North Carolina. It was created in the year 1891, introduced in 1905 as Vicks Magic Croup Salve, to treat croup, as they called it back in those days. Inventor Lunsford Richardson used the name Vicks to honor his brother-in-law, Dr. Joshua Vick. And so if you want to see an original bottle of it, that's how it looked back in the day, way back in the 1900s. And there it is today. Millions of using it. That's Vapor Rub, Vicks Vapor Rub, and that's today's Carolina Trivia. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
I realize I've always said Vapor Rub. I didn't realize there wasn't an R in there until just now. All right, well, anyways, hard transition. February 22nd, 1998. These were some overnight tornadoes that happened in Florida that were some of the deadliest that we've had in Florida history. So what happened was there was 3 F3s. I was about to say EF3s, but this is before we went to the enhanced Fujita scale that happened in 2007, and there were 2 F2 tornadoes. One of those F2s was responsible for fatalities, but then meanwhile, one of those F3s was responsible for majority of this, 25 deaths. And most of those F3s right here were in the central part of the state. 6 counties were affected, and then 41 fatalities total. Cost and damage, $78,000. That's surprisingly actually low, but it really impacted a lot of less populated areas. Now, if that happened in today's dollars, I think it would be almost 4 times the amount. And the max width was about 250 yards. So yeah, really historic day for Florida. And the worst part about the scenario is, notice the time. 8:55 p.m. till 10:40 p.m. It's always the overnight tornadoes that can be the most deadly, and the ratios are staggering. Check this out. If you're during the day for a tornado, it's usually about a 1 in 50 chance that they could turn deadly. A nighttime tornado changes over from 1 to 20. So that's how big of a difference there, and I think that's one of the main reasons why that was a surprise to a lot of people. Meanwhile, bringing it back to 2026, we're just talking about some general snow. Check it out in Blowing Rock. Still blowing around pretty well. Look at that flag off in the distance. Nothing compared to New York. We're seeing some of those flags that are almost trying to rip off the poles, some of them over 70 miles per hour. But it's up in the mountains that are our biggest weather story, even though if you walk outside here in Charlotte, that's your big weather story. Put it in perspective, it is a lot worse up here. It's a lot of blowing snow, still not blizzard-like, but you're going to have some reduced visibilities from place to place from time to time. Our current temperatures right now on the map, still feeling like the negative values up in the high country, but it feels like 17 degrees here in Charlotte. 28 degrees is the actual air temperature. So mainly feeling like the teens until later on, it's going to start to feel closer to freezing. Still feeling close to freezing today. At least we have that sunshine here closer to Charlotte, but I'm also anticipating some wind gusts could be as high as 35 plus. Yesterday we hit a peak of 43 miles per hour. It's a little bit lighter, but not by much. So really a strong wind later on. Today also comes with the risk that we could have some say weakened trees. I actually had part of one of our trees come off and crack because we have drought, and also the winter storm probably impacted some of that as well. So some falling limbs I think are definitely going to happen if they didn't already happen yesterday. Charlotte Motor Speedway right now looking great. Nothing too crazy here closer to home, but I'm happy to say we will see a little bit of a warm up. Last look at our 7 to 10 day forecast over the next 7 days. It's a slow warm up. We have the 40s the next couple of days. Tomorrow morning's the coldest morning, but it's not the coldest feeling. It won't feel like the teens like what we had this morning. Then we're back into the 60s for the next best chance for rain. Thursday night into Friday morning. And then look at that, mid to the upper 60s, close to 70. By the way, 71 degrees is officially March 1st. So you were looking at the end of February on that 7-day forecast. I advertised this as a 10-day forecast. So real quick, after that 71, we will cool back down. But hey, at least it's not the 40s. And Majestic has some slow traffic, as we typically see to start off your commute.
Just before 9 o'clock this morning, this is what I-77 looks like out near Tyvola. Definitely inbound lanes moving slowly. Outbound lanes not too bad, but that would be typically what we would expect this time of the day. Still a handful of ongoing problems. This one here still not cleared. We just learned about it about 20 minutes ago out towards Lake Wiley. This is at Steel Creek Road. Northbound lanes being impacted at South Tryon Street. Starting to see less delays there, so likely making improvements. Meanwhile, right around around Uptown, we definitely have our fair share of problems. If you take Independence inbound to get onto John Belk Freeway, there is a crash right there. They've pulled it off over to the shoulder, so that is helping with traffic continuing to flow inbound. Here right in the heart of the Queen City, 5th Street at West 6th, a new accident just happened there in the intersection. Not cleared, and you do have some delays coming in all directions. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. On this day in history in 2014, Jason Collins became the first openly gay player to appear in an NBA game. He took the court with the Brooklyn Nets as they faced the Los Angeles Lakers, marking a major milestone for inclusion in professional sports. Collins' decision to come out publicly was widely praised, and it opened doors for greater LGBTQ+ visibility in athletics. His debut showed that authenticity belongs in every arena, a moment that reshaped the conversation about acceptance in professional sports.
8:55 right now. Live pictures inside our Live Impact studio, located just on the other side of the newsroom where we're standing right now. Our friend and yours, Jane Monreal, standing by. She's going to have live comments coming from the White House on this Monday morning. That's coming your way at the top of the hour, 9 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus.
It depends where you are. 7 degrees right now on top of Beach Mountain. Meanwhile, you have blue skies with just a few upper level clouds closer to Charlotte and Dallas. Temperatures are still either freezing or below, but we're almost to that freezing point at least. High temperatures today in the lower 40s, the 20s for you in the mountains, feeling like the single digits. And of course, you have that active snow going on. But for us, it really is going to be more wind chills in the teens to the 20s, and then eventually feeling like it's still freezing for the afternoon. Getting warmer though, lower 60s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Next chance for rain Thursday night and Friday. And then, hey, back to around 70 degrees on Sunday before we eventually cool down heading into next week. All right, Majestic has one last look at your morning commute. Good morning.
Good Monday morning, everyone. It is busy out there. Even though we're getting close to that 9 o'clock hour, we still have slow-moving traffic. That's I-77 out near Clanton. Still a handful of ongoing wrecks. This one here out near Still Creek Road. We still do have those delays coming in from all directions. Closer to Uptown, this is going to be Independence inbound to get onto John Belk. That's where we do have a reported crash. And then just to the north of it, 5th Street at West 6th Street. That's right there in the heart of Charlotte. You can see John Belk Freeway. If you take that, the outer loop, there is a backup all the way to I-77.